My schedule from tomorrow on is looking like the title of a DJ Shadow song. 6 days, man. From the starting of the week, at Summit Talks, you hear them speak. Summer's working like 6 days. It's crazy. Guys, so we here for episode 6 of Peruse the News with the captain of the cruise, guiding you through the blues to not mess up on your stunts like Tom Cruise. You feel me? Or what I do? Let's get right into it, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I got a lot of articles that I researched for you guys, and you're really gonna enjoy it. I'm telling you, it's hilarious. So let's begin with this one from the Fortune magazine. By the way, I'm in Leo's currently. We're gonna get some comida, toma, bebidas, sin alcohol, absolutamente. So I don't drink alcohol. And then we're gonna just do some Peruse the News. Let's go. So this article is written by Jason Ma, right? So interesting, because we were talking about this the other day. We made like some allusions to it. The title is "Consumers Are So Demoralized by Inflation and High Rates That They've Given Up." Oh, gracias, señor. Oh, gracias. Eres amable. Consumers are so demoralized by inflation and high rates that they've given up on saving for the American dream and are spending money instead, economist says. Man. From the title, naturally, there are so many opinions that I could just spout out, but we're gonna wait. You know, we're just gonna, let's analyze, let's read first, and then we're gonna talk about this stuff. So Jason Ma says an economist offered an explanation for the paradox that has emerged in recent data showing that spending has remained robust even as consumers report feeling pessimistic. Joanne Su, who is the director of the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Survey, told CNBC on Friday that she thinks Americans have abandoned plans to save money as they see their financial goals look less attainable and are spending money instead. This is natural. Guys, this is natural. Look, I spoke about this the other day. Not only inflation rates are incredibly high, jobs are incredibly scarce, you know, for the many, the majority, not for the few. Right? Take that as you will. Things are just overall getting expensive, and things are just becoming sort of bleak in terms of saving money, right? Why are you gonna save money if things are gonna get really expensive, right? People have just given up and discarded the dream completely, this silly, false American dream, and are just trying to live up what they can with the little money that they have right now just to do their thing. Gracias, señor. Yo voy a pedir algo en un momento, ¿sí? Sí, yo voy a llamarte. In un rato. Like I said, man, we in Leo's, man. So people just don't care anymore. They're like, listen, they're looking online, they see all these like guys traveling, having fun, women traveling too. So they're just like, yo, I have enough money. Let me just travel before my money is completely, it means nothing. The value of my money is low, it's zero. Like now, there's this overall sentiment of a discouragement by the American dream. Like, oh, you know, you could own your house one day, you can own a car, you can have a family. On the family aspect, there has never been a further chasm between the sexes as it has been in this current present day and age. Owning a home, have you ever looked up the prices of a home in America? New York, Seattle? The prices for these things are hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not 2 million and up dollars. It's crazy. Do you think by working a 9 to 5, right, which is the average time length that people work for, right? They have one source of income. Do you think with one source of income working a 9 to 5 that you can buy a home that costs $1 million? No, it's not possible. It is only natural that, me included, and other people have given up this idea of achieving the American dream in lieu of very, very transient but meaningful experiences that cost a fraction of, you know, cementing one's stock in the American dream. Let me take a sip of this. Me encanto el lulo. This positive spending is not a reflection of some sort of internalized secret sense of confidence that consumers have, he explained. And instead, my interpretation is that consumers see that a lot of aspirational goals that we talk about as part of the American dream, home ownership, paying for college for your kids, having a comfortable retirement. With high prices and high interest rates right now, those aspirational goals just feel increasingly out of reach. This is the same thing. This is, of course, the American dream. They're talking about naturally America. But this is the same thing in England. England has the same issue, or in Europe. Europe has the same issues with high inflation, low amount of jobs and opportunity, and increasing cost of college and school. Let me get some of this water too. Most individuals that live in Europe, like in the high earning places, the high GDP places like Germany, France, England, these guys, when they retire, they're not seeking to stay in those respective countries and spending their money and living out the rest of their days. No, they're going to like Portugal, they're going to like Spain, enjoying good weather for a lower cost of living. And of course, you know, there's some people that are going to Thailand, Southeast Asia, South America as well. This is just natural because our money is just not going far anymore. The government has done overprinted so much money that the value of those dollars are just low. It only makes sense, even though ironically there's a strong US dollar. A lot of other economies aren't doing that well as well. This is just a bad time to believe in the American dream and think that you could start some family, because it's just hard. It's just hard. To be sure, inflation has come down sharply from the 4-decade high 9% rate in the mid-2022 to 3.4% last month. But that means prices are going up less quickly rather than returning to pre-pandemic levels. And the cumulative sticker shock over the last few years still weighs on sentiment. Like I told you guys in the last Peruse the News, right? Or the last two Peruse the Newses. All businesses, restaurants included, are trying to make a recoup on their investment due to the losses, the quarterly losses that they retained during the lockdowns because of all the regulations during those lockdowns. So as a result, things are just marked up. They're trying to get their money back. Even though we have this empirical data stating that inflation is actually lower than it used to be for the past 40 years, the prices are still going up at a rate that's slower than usual, meaning that we're still gonna have to pay an exorbitant amount of money for things, more than usual. This is nuts. Further cooling in the job market could also help nudge the Federal Reserve to start cutting interest rates, giving consumers a reason to be slightly less dour. All in all, what does this article tell us, guys? That the future is looking bleak as per usual. Give up on the American dream. If you are actually, you have a job, you have a remote job, you're making some money, you don't have kids, you're not a felon, you don't owe money to anybody, consider moving to, say, South America. Consider moving to Southeast Asia, right? Consider moving to like Portugal. My mom moved to Portugal during the pandemic, and she's been there for the past 2 years. She's picking up Portuguese and she's living her life very, very wonderfully. Consider going to a place where not only there's not so much of a chasm between sexes, right? Where you guys are, women would rather go date a bear, right? Or rather be with a bear rather than a man. Or there's like this BBB movement in South Korea or something where women are just dialing out of dating completely. Go to places where, there's not such a chasm between sexes and your money would go far. Think about that, guys. All right, so we're gonna go to the next article, but I want to order something actually. Hola, ¿cómo estás, señor? Me gustaría pedir algo. ¿Puedo tener la T-bone steak, por favor, temperatura medio, con arroz y maduro dulce? Dulce, por favor. Gracias, gusto. Right, so next article. This is going to be a very interesting one. It's not very controversial in any way, but I know a little bit about this stuff, so I'm going to talk about it. This article is in the Bloomberg Business Week, written by Mia Glass. Title of the article: How Uniqlo's Millennial Birkin is Beating Designer Bags. Okay, we didn't read anything, but I want to give you guys some context. Like maybe you guys don't even know what a Birkin bag is, and and that sort of thing. So let me just give you a history. A Birkin bag was actually created inspired by a Jane Birkin, which was this actress back in the day, from a couple decades back. One of the Hermes, I think the CEO at the time or the creative director, met with Jane Birkin on the plane, and then Jane was saying that, I wish I had a bag that could fit all this stuff. And then this CEO or creative director was like, okay, say no more. Then the Birkin bag was created. The Birkin bag has a whole myriad of styles, and it's actually one of the only designer bags in this day and age that's still handcrafted. It's not put on an assembly line like the Louis Vuitton Never Full or the Chanel 2.55 or the Longchamps. I forget what that bag is called, but you guys, if you know fashion, you know what I'm talking about. The Birkin bag is still created by hand, and there is a back order, a backlog of like a year or 2 years of orders. If you wanted to get a Birkin bag now, not only you pay a lot of money for that bag, but you'll also have to wait like some time, a couple months to a year and change just to get that bag. It's nuts. And Uniqlo, as we know, this brand, this Japanese brand, Japanese fast fashion retailer brand, says that, according to Mia Glass, has created this millennial Birkin. I don't think so. Let's read on. Let's read on. But that's the history lesson behind the Birkin bag, since you guys didn't know. A viral TikTok video of a woman reaching into her Uniqlo shoulder bag to pull out a long list of items, including headphones, perfume, and an EpiPen, helped propel the product to global cult status. I never even heard of this bag from Uniqlo. What are you talking about? The company now wants to turn the bag into a fashion staple. Well, of course, that would look good for Uniqlo. Increase sales, and then draw people into the stores to not only get the bag, but to sell their myriad other items as well. Great business move by Uniqlo. This is genius. Thank goodness for the independent content creators of TikTok, of Instagram. I don't think viral is a really great word, says Kanoko Takenokuchi, which is the global merchandising director for Uniqlo, part of Fast Retailing Co. Fast Retailing Co. is the holding company for Uniqlo. I have a feeling that it's not just a passing trend, but it's becoming a permanent item that will stay in people's lives for a long time. She'll hope. She's lit her candles. She's done her praising and her blessings to her God to make sure that this trend not only just lasts forever, but will generate more sales for the brand, you know? The now ubiquitous round mini shoulder bag, nicknamed the Millennial Birkin dumpling bag, Mary Poppins bag. Mary Poppins. I haven't seen Mary Poppins in a while, so I couldn't, make the reference in my head. And banana bag, because of the shape, was released in 2020, but it wasn't until the TikTok video in 2022 that sales took off, causing shortages, and helping to make it one of the retailer's best-selling items in some products in some markets. So it is interesting because this has the same demand as the Birkin bag. I guess that's the point of the article. At the end of the day, I think that trends change and morph and transform. Birkin bag is one of these fashion staples that will be around forever, as with a lot of other fashion staples. The little black dress, I think some perfume from Tom Ford, I think the Black Orchid or something, the Coco Chanel perfume. These things are just gonna last forever. I think that this is impressive that this millennial Birkin has been successful, because it's always good when the seeming underdog makes an appearance on the grand stage. At the end of the day, it's still a fast fashion retailer, so these guys are very, very far from the underdog. But it's good that something is popular that everyone could have a bite of, because it doesn't cost much. I think it costs, they're saying here it sells for $20 in the US. It's 1,500 yen in Japan. So everyone could afford it, everyone can get in on the action, and they could feel like a person just for a temporary period of time. They are in some clique, they belong to the club. The global merchandising director has something else to say. Selling this bag, just in case, the people that haven't bought into the trend already from the TikTok video needs to hear this. It can easily be used in everyone's daily life, including men, women, grandparents, and kids, Takenokuchi says. Plus, the design is very simple and easy to use, and there aren't other good quality bags that are sold for this price. Right, so, and it says here that the success of the bag has also drawn copycats. As with anything famous in fashion, we know this. There was this book I read. I used to, some of the people before I became a religious and semen retention spiritual nutcase, right? I was into fashion. I was into fashion a lot. I used to read a lot about fashion history, fashion articles, and there was this author that wrote about fashion in particular that I used to follow. Her name was Dana Thomas, and she had a book called Deluxe. And she spoke about how the counterfeit industry, right, the knockoff industry, it makes so much money. It's over billions of dollars a year. And I think this was back in 2011, 2012 or something. So you can only imagine it now because Balenciaga became famous, Vaunt, and there's all these fashion brands that's become very, very popular. So you can only imagine the amount of knockoffs that have been produced and how big the knockoff industry has become. I don't think that they'll gain any traction by suing these these various labels that create knockoff brands because they're just gonna pop up under a different name in a different place the next day. It's just, this is natural. I think when fashion brands get to this status where they're getting copied and counterfeited, they gotta just allow it. That means they've made it. They made the big stage. Like there's like the Nikes and Jordans and all these Balenciaga sneakers and all these various luxury brand items that get copied every day. Like this just happens, it's just natural. You're wasting time and money pursuing these brands, but you know, they have money to spend and I'm not invited to the clubhouse, so whatever they choose to do with their money, they can do with their money. My closing statement for the article is that it's nice that there is a trend that a lot of people could literally buy into and you know, they could feel accepted temporarily, even though you know, everything is getting expensive and the American dream is, and security, just like, you know, retirement and saving security is sort of dwindling and becoming further and further and further out of reach. So that's that for this article. The final article, guys, that we're going to talk about today. This is by the Times Union, written by Dan Clark. The title of this article is New York lawmakers consider different routes to protect sex workers. So 2 bills under consideration have a common goal to keep people working in sex trades out of danger. So let's read a little bit about this. I have a couple opinions about sex work, which is I don't think sex work should be around, but it's one of the oldest professions in life. I don't think that it's going anywhere anytime soon. And there's still a lot of degeneracy in the world. There's still a lot of men that are very, very, I think with their basis of natures, that think with their basis of qualities. So this is going to be sought out, even if there are legislations that that sort of ban sex work, as we do have here in New York, or I think in America, I'm not sure. People are still going to seek out these things, and due to that being banned, there will be black markets created for those industries, and there will be more exploitation, as with the adult film industry, with the individuals, escorts in this industry. Let's read what they got to say, man. It's no secret that sex workers exist in New York, but 2 dueling bills sponsored by Democrats. Gracias, señor. Gracias. Yo voy a mover allá. Gracias y gracias. Ten un buen día. It's no secret that sex workers exist in New York, but 2 dueling bills sponsored by Democrats in the state legislature would bring that industry into the light in very different ways. All right, let's hear what they got to say. They got 2 contrasting points of view. One measure would legalize prostitution outright, which, I mean, it's neither here or there. If that happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, that's cool as well, because that industry will still exist. So there's still going to be a whole bunch of men that are still seeking out escorts. So whether it exists or not, you know, people are still going to be looking for them. So there's that will legalize prostitution outright, and another would crack down on people who pay for sex but wouldn't punish the workers who provide it. So it's perfect for the sex workers then, the escorts, right? They could still host and facilitate their services, but the only one that's going to lose in the situation are the consumers of said services. So there's going to be even more scams than I'm sure that's ridden the industry already. This is nuts. Both bills have a common goal to keep people working in the sex trades out of danger while exposing those who seek to control them through nefarious, predatory ways. I mean, even though that's still not going to stop, I think, you know, legislations like this. It's still not going to stop people from facilitating an escort business, right? They're not going to get in trouble because they're facilitating the escort business. They're not doing anything. They're just providing the service through the person that's providing the service directly. The only one at fault here are going to be people that consume that thing, that pay for that service. We shouldn't even be paying for sex anyway. Why are we even doing this, guys? Be on semen retention, retain your masculinity, and live your life. Meet people, talk to people, be friendly. If they don't like you, that's it. Go to a different area. But stay on semen retention. Don't be degenerate sexually. We want to make sure all New Yorkers are protected, said Assemblywoman Pamela Hunter, a Democrat from Syracuse. We've definitely seen an influx of people who've been affected, especially migrants coming to New York City. Because migrants, obviously, they don't have papers, so they can't work. So they have no choice but to get into an illegal business, which is sex work. I think that this is a good attempt at the end of the day, but people are still going to find ways to look for this service. People are still going to try to find clandestine secret ways to engage and pay for this service. This is a good attempt. It's a good step in. It's a step in the right direction. Step in the right direction. I think one of the bills is targeted at human trafficking, but would also impact people who choose to work in the sex trades. How? If you're penalizing only the person that pays for the service, how is it going to penalize the person that's facilitating the entire thing, like, you know, a pimp or somebody? They know best. You know, Hunter himself is just the initiator of this legislation. All right, he knows best, obviously, he knows the intrinsics. It will also raise penalties for people who pay money for sex through the imposition of steep fines. If someone's convicted for paying for sex more than twice, they could pay a fine of up to $50,000 US. That's insane, that's so crazy, but I don't think it's gonna discourage people at all. There's always been like these sort of sting operations of police officers and undercovers pretending to be escorts in order to imprison and incriminate the people that engage in these types of services, but it's really not going to deter anyone at all. Just because you make punishment steep, it's not going to really discourage people from doing a lot of things. There's murder that still happens, unfortunately. There's robbery that still happens. There are a whole plethora of crimes that still occur in this space, even though the punishment for said crimes are still steep. I think that there are natural inclinations of individuals that people have not ascended over due to the lack of being on certain spiritual practices, i.e. degenerate men that are not on semen retention that still seek to pleasure themselves through escorts, through a very, very transitory experience. Using legislation such as these, it's not really going to solve the issue. It's a step in the right direction, I reckon, but at the end of the day, people are still going to engage in this service. But with that being said, that's all that I have to say today. If you like that service, it's essentially a service. If you like that video, like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video with some peers. I gotta eat. Sombra del piso, necesito a comer ahora. Right? So we're gonna cut off this video now. Please, I'm waiting for some feedback. Give me some feedback on the Peruse the News videos. Let me know if I'm not saying anything or need to say a little bit more. Don't let this place get you down. It's full, you know, prices are going up. It's harder to achieve this American dream, which is long but faded from the consciousness of the public, of the people, the American people. But at least you can get a nice Uniqlo Millenial Birkin, right? In order to alleviate that pain for a little bit and just feel socially accepted, right? And stay radiant. I shall see you guys in the next one. And I'm gonna watch the rest of this Knicks game, man. It's looking bleak already. We're already down by 12. Stay radiant. Me included. I'll see you guys in the next one.